The Denver Broncos voluntary off-season programs has begun for veterans, and there's a little bit of controversy right out the gate. According to this tweet this morning from Tom Pelissero, Broncos wide receiver Courtland Sutton did not report yesterday for voluntary workouts as he seeks a new contract. Sutton is going on his 10th starting quarterback in 7 seasons and only has $2 million guaranteed left on his deal. He has 10 touchdowns he had 10 touchdowns in 2023 while ranking 56th in targets. So what that tells you is Courtland Sutton was very efficient in the red zone last year. We all know that. Russell Wilson really depended on him to get him out of trouble in the red zone. That's when we think about those crazy catches that he had in Kansas City and in Buffalo. Those were the kind of plays that Courtland Sutton made for the Denver Broncos last year. And I don't blame him for wanting to seek a new deal. The Broncos have him under contract for, I believe, his age 29 and age 30 season coming up. So when he's due to hit the market again, he's going to be on the wrong side of 30. But at the same time, I also don't blame the Denver Broncos here for either not budging and not paying him or deciding just to rip the Band-Aid off now and move on from Courtland Sutton. That's not the outcome that I would prefer. I would prefer that the Broncos just roll with Courtland Sutton this year and they just roll on the current deal. And if he earns an extension next year with whoever our new starting quarterback is, great. Then I feel like that would make a more legitimate argument for Courtland Sutton to get paid. But if we come over here and take a look at this tweet from Andrew Mason, Courtland Sutton's cap figures for the next 2 years are $17.4 million and then $17.8 million. In the 2 years on the 4-year deal worth up to $60 million that Courtland Sutton signed, his per game average are 67 receptions for 878 yards and 6.6 touchdowns. He's played 31 games on that deal, and his last 1,000-yard season was all the way back in 2019. And for those who want to make the argument, well, that's because he's had 10 starting quarterbacks in his entire career. Look at some of the other successful wide receivers in the NFL who haven't had some consistent quarterback play. Think about guys like DJ Moore, for example. Think about guys like Michael Pittman Jr. Think about guys like Terry McLaurin, guys like Amari Cooper, especially over the last couple of years in Cleveland. He's been one of the best receivers in the NFL and has had a really poor quarterback situation. Think about Garrett Wilson, for example. The Broncos, quite frankly, have it comparatively easy compared to some of these other teams, man. At least for the last 2 years, they've had some consistent stability at quarterback, and Courtland Sutton still is producing as like the 25th to 35th best wide receiver in football. So I think that his contract is actually quite fair. It might even be a little bit player-friendly, honestly. Yes, he only has $2 million guaranteed, so if he were to get injured, then that would be a bad situation for him. I totally understand that from the player's perspective, but from the Broncos' perspective here, it's not worth paying Courtland Sutton long-term when he's going to be on the wrong side of 30 as we go at the end of this current deal. So I think that if the Broncos don't want to pay him and he's insistent about not wanting to play under his current deal, then maybe you do trade him. But there also is a bit of an impasse that the Broncos are at right now because I don't know which teams are going to be lining up to trade for Courtland Sutton on that contract when the Broncos, or when the wide receiving core in the 2024 draft is just completely loaded. This is a loaded class from top to bottom, and one of these teams could find really, really good value in that draft and not give up draft capital for a player who's aging in Courtland Sutton. The Broncos could certainly have that same argument, and they could also use that same logic for trading away Sutton. I just don't know what value they would get for him in return, and would it really be equal value to what he would bring on the field. At the end of the day, Courtland Sutton is under contract in Denver for the next 2 years. If he doesn't show up for the non-voluntary workouts, he's going to face financial penalties. And I don't think that he's going to be able to pay those financial penalties. So Courtland Sutton is eventually going to have to show up if nothing gets done on the contract end or if he doesn't get traded. It's voluntary right now. He doesn't have to be there. So this is almost a little bit of a non-story to me. I don't think Courtland Sutton ends up going anywhere, to be honest with you. I really don't. I think that Courtland Sutton will be a Denver Bronco next year, and he will be a dependable target for the Broncos rookie quarterback in 2024. All right, Broncos country, I am curious. What would you do if you're the Broncos here? Would you keep Courtland Sutton on his current deal? Would you extend him? Or would you potentially trade him knowing that the return you're going to get for him is probably not equivalent to the value that he brings on the field? Drop those comments down below, Broncos country. I would love to hear your thoughts as always. Be sure to leave a like on this video as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. I would really appreciate it, guys. Those are two free and easy ways to show your support. It helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out and helps us get seen by more and more members of Broncos country just like you and me. And until next time, guys, I am your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.